Mostly underutilized and mostly underrated, Harrow will often be seen in B tier and Warframe tier list because of his reliance on getting kills himself. While partially true, many systems have made their way in the game that allow Harrow to not be gated by this and simply unleash all his potential. Welcome to my Harrow build guide. Today I'm going to teach you how to play this Warframe and how you can min-max your build to have a comfortable time regardless of mission or enemy level. Enjoy the ride! So for starters, I wanted to showcase something very important with Harrow's abilities, and we can easily see this. So right here, first of all, your first ability gives you shield, obviously. Before we talk about that, we need to talk about his second ability, which is the penance ability. So this ability gives you fire to your weapons, then it gives you reload speed to your weapons, and also any kind of kill you get will heal you. And I think it will also heal your team. Healing the team doesn't matter because it should be another person's job to do that. You're supposed to just give them iframes. And in general, this ability has a fixed percentage where you get your abilities. You can use it while having base shields. It will take down your shields completely. And, you know, now we have the fire rate, the reload speed, and everything. However, with higher shields, there is a misconception that with higher shields the ability gets stronger, and it actually doesn't, it just lasts longer. So we get the same exact stats for fire rate and reload, but the ability now lasts longer. Also, another misconception is that Harrow's 1 works twice on the same targets. So if we use our 1 on these targets and use it again, you see it doesn't affect them, so we don't get the extra overshield whatsoever. We need to hit different targets to actually get the overshield. This makes it so that spamming 1 doesn't actually work, and you need to find new targets to use your 1 on in order to stun lock them. And one very important thing is, if we use Eximus enemies and we use our 1 on them, let me just get rid of the shield. Because they're Eximus enemies and they're not affected at all by the 1, your 1 is completely useless on them. You get the effects of the abilities and everything, but as long as their overshield is up, your condemn will do nothing. Once the overshield is out and you can use it on him, then you get the overheal normally. So, that is all you need to know. Let's get on to the video. This build revolves around all of Harrow's strengths while bypassing his main weaknesses to get the best out of him at all times. Let's start with the most important first, survivability. Harrow's base shield is very high at 740, and with the recent changes to shield gating, you can get maximum invincibility frames from said shield gating without any additional mods. 2 Tau Forged Archon Swords are enough for you to get above 1150 shield, which is the maximum threshold for shield gating invincibility frames immunity, granting you a 2.5 second invulnerability for free. Additionally, Harrow's first ability paired with his passive allows you to get incredible amounts of overshield. Tenos shields have 50% reduction to damage on their own, and abusing this mechanic will reset the invincibility frames timer to 2.5 seconds again, since your shields are above 1150. If that's not enough, our build will be running Rolling Guard for another 3 seconds of invulnerability, and if that's not enough, again our build allows our 4th ability to keep us invincible for another 13.5 seconds. Speaking of which, let's talk DPS. Harrow is known for his incredible crit capability from his 4th ability, and with our Harrow build, the 4th ability itself has a duration of 27 seconds, more than enough to dish out tons of damage. We will avoid using Lasting Covenant for 2 reasons. First and foremost, in a meta where everyone uses as much AoE as possible, it's not easy for Harrow to get headshot kills, and secondly, you will lose invulnerability for your entire squad, since your 4 will be active for a longer period of time. It's generally not that great, except you're running a lower level mission solo and you don't really care about the invulnerability part of your 4th ability. Moreover, Harrow's second ability will grant us an incredible amount of fire rate and lifesteal to you and your teammates for every kill. The fire rate buff with the strength of our build is incredibly high, and it will make you a DPS demon. Lastly, for energy, you will almost always be on the maximum amount because Nourish, our helmet ability replacing your third, will take care of that as well as giving you some extra bang for your buck when it comes to dealing damage. Alright, I think I have explained abilities enough, so we can move on to the build itself. Alright, so for our Harrow build, let's start with the Archon Swords. As we said before, we're using 2 blue Tau Forged Archon Swords for that extra shield, taking us up to 1190 shield, which is above the threshold of 1150, to maximize our shield gating. If we go inside the build and we actually check it out, we will hover this and we see that we get invulnerability for 2.5 seconds. The yellow shards for me are casting speed, but these are completely optional. You can put Emerald Archon Shards if you want armor strip, you can put a regular Archon Shard for strength if you want more strength. I'll discuss duration because duration is mainly preference, but everything else on the build should be like this. So, Rolling Guard, as I said, Combat Discipline and Arcane Avenger for even more crits. You want to build a crit heavy build. And Combat Discipline is basically a free damage upgrade paired with Arcane Avenger because your 2 is constantly going to heal you and you're never in any danger of running out of health ever. Nourish, as I said, for energy regen instead of your 3. And honestly, Arcane Acceleration, you can swap this to whatever gun you prefer. So either Arcane Acceleration, or if you're using a shotgun, you would go Arcane Tempo. If you're going for a secondary weapon, you would go Velocity. If you go for a melee weapon, which I don't know why you would on Harrow, you would go Strike, etc. So for me here, this build uses Acceleration because I'm going a primary weapon. And the build itself is focusing around as much strength as possible while keeping the duration fairly high. So, duration is 100% preference. You can change this build around, change some mods around to try and bring the duration a bit down if you want, because as I said, this is my build, this is what feels comfy for me, but you may like less duration on Harrow to keep the duration protection up. It's just, for me, the sweet spot was here, and this is why I kept this much duration. There may be people that would like to have 200% duration, there may be people that like 150% duration. The duration of your abilities is completely optional. I just like it being high because it allows me to not recast Nourish and Penance for a long time, while keeping my 4th ability in a reasonable amount to actually be protected through the invulnerability without ever being in danger if I take care of my Rolling Guard and my 1st ability. So this is why I'm using this exact build. Prime Sure-Footed, I mean, I know we meme about this mode, but honestly, in a frame that cannot get some kind of invulnerability or any kind of overguard, or if the Warframe is squishy in general, if you get knocked down, you pretty much die. In those cases, you want to use Prime Sure-Footed. And Harrow is the 3rd case, where if you get knocked down with Harrow, you're pretty much dead 100% of the time. So, Prime Sure-Footed for sure is the best mode here. You could change it up if you want to have some kind of knockdown resistance. You could do this. So, let's say you want a bit of less duration knockdown resistance and you don't have Prime Sure-Footed, and normal Sure-Footed plus the Fortitude mod is enough for you to gain 100% knockdown resistance to mimic Prime Sure-Footed. And you could probably swap this for something like, I don't know, you could change the build around a bit, remove Narrow-Minded, put Fortitude on, and then remove one of the range modes, then put another duration mode here with Algor methods. You can do a lot of things with it. This is just the baseline, this is what I use, and this is what my build feels nice to have. So, I'm gonna do a quick demonstration. Also, on the video, we're using on the background footage, we're using Heinz, Ocucore, and Praetos. Ocucore is the standard Ocucore build you would see, which is focused on mostly heat damage and Cascadia Flare. The Kuva Hind is a Riven modded Kuva Hind. This is one of the strongest Kuva weapons in the game, in my opinion. Very high crit, very high stats in general. This is the burst, which I use the most, and the Riven looks like this. Hunter munitions build, pretty standard. Prime Shred for the bit of Punch Through. Punch Through always helps with those primary weapons that require you to hit multiple people if needed, or hit people through doors and shit. Heat is only because just once in a lifetime when heat procs we can get that extra 50% armor strip, which feels really nice to help your viral procs actually do damage. And then Praedos is not really worth to talk about the build because the only thing we're using Praedos for is the movement speed. So we have sprint slide, parkour velocity, that sort of thing, and you could probably make a heavy attack build with this and make it work, but I haven't and I don't care about doing it because the sprint speed is just so useful in this to help you dodge abilities and keep a momentum to actually build stuff. So with this, we're gonna unpause the AI here so we can see exactly how this build survives. So we're gonna get our first invulnerability proc right here, and then we'll press 4. This is our second invulnerability proc. While 4th is blocking damage, we can obviously press 1 whenever we want on these guys. I'm gonna do it now. So now we have some of them stunned. And now our shield is back up to full and it ticks down. And then another vulnerability phase, we'll press 1 again. And, you know, these guys are stunned. This guy is not shooting for some reason. And then we have rolling guard. We can press 1 again if we need to. And yeah, a lot of people have been saying that they like adding, you know, Hildren's ability on Harrow. And they like that more. But honestly, it's not bad at all to use this. So as you see, even without being able to cast my 4 again, I'm still really high on AF3. And as long as you keep killing and you keep getting the energy from Nourish, you will be absolutely fine. So the enemies will drop you the energy orbs. What the hell? Yeah, anyways, that's pretty well, in my opinion. And obviously, all these were before the bleed procs, and obviously we're gonna be in a massive battlefield with a lot of energy orbs dropping from enemies, such as Eximus enemies, and normal enemies having a higher chance, because they're way more, and you having the chance to kill way more enemies. So, in general, this is a very free invulnerability frames build that you can easily recover your invulnerability frames without trying a lot, and your tools give you the chance to roam around the map for free without necessarily taking damage. So your 1, your 3, and your 4 are the kind of tools you will need to keep yourself alive, and for the damage, your guns are the thing that will do the trick. So for Harrow, in general, you want guns that benefit from fire rate a lot. Kuva Hind is one, 10x Flux Rifle is one, the Fenmore, the Kuva Com, Tetra, Badakor. Badakor is probably one of the best ones. It's the one that the person that suggested me the build uses, and it is absolutely bonkers. So I want to show this as well. My build is focused around keeping stacks up and playing with the Badakor on its own. It has multiplicative CO, so we can use Galvanized Aptitude and Serration at the same time, and Serration will benefit Galvanized Aptitude stats by a lot. If you want to get the maximum amount of damage, Bane is better, but if you're running a mission where it's corrupted in Corpus or corrupted in Grenier, such as a Fisher mission like I was doing, then Serration is still fine, and it's probably gonna do better in terms of damage because you're having better damage against everybody instead of just one faction. So yeah, I think I'm gonna show the Badakor because it's honestly quite insane with this Harrow build. So Nourish 4th, 2nd, and then first skill is gonna take a bit because we don't have any kind of base damage. My Raven mode also has minus damage, so that doesn't help. But yeah, you're seeing the damage is really nuts on the Badakor. The Badakor is absolutely crazy when it comes to pairing it with Harrow, and the amount of damage that you can deal with it is insane. So the build of the Badakor looks like this once again, and I didn't show the Riven, so I wanted to show it again, which has minus damage. This kind of counteracts it because on the first kill with this much minus damage you will deal pretty much nothing, so it helps it out as well. Which is, you know, even if I didn't use this, and Serration would still be good because the gun has multiplicative seal. regardless, the weapon is really nutty, and it's not that popular right now. It is extremely good with Harrow. Ochicore and any secondary weapon that can pretty much run and gun is absolutely insane. So you would go something like Ochicore, Hystrix Prime, Detron, Furious, Tenet Cyclone, I don't know, it has a bit too low ammo for the Tenet Cyclone, but no Prime, also very good with him, because it's easy headshots with Harrow. Things that I wouldn't use with Harrow is something like the Ekbolto, because it's gated by fire rates. You can't, and generally weapons that you don't hold to shoot, you tap. Something like Latron and shit like that, you would not use as weapons with Harrow, because you want to benefit as much from the fire rate as possible. Same thing goes with explosive weapons. If you want to use an explosive weapon, I would either go Envoy or the Tsar, and I would completely dish out all of the other explosive weapons completely. And when it comes to Incarnons, the best Incarnon would probably be the Burst on Prime for its incredibly high ammunition pool. With 600 ammo in the mag, the Bearstone can do wonders with this, so you just, you know, kind of goes crazy. And that was without the crit even, so yeah. When you're able to dish out the Burson's ammo capacity so quickly, because it has 600 ammo, it gets really crazy. But this was Grenier enemies and I have Bane of Grenier, so it's not really fair comparison. But this is the build for anyone interested. Obviously, as always, if you want to go Vigilante supplies on the Exos, you can. And yeah, that's pretty much how you play Harrow. And I think he's probably one of the better frames right now to play in order to do level cap, one of the most comfier ones. And I really hope I see more people playing after this. For gameplay, you want to play with the types of weapons that we discussed and try to help your teammates by keeping them buffed. Make sure that you're always safe and keep an eye out for your buffs. Rolling Guard, your 1 and your 4th are tools that give you invincibility, and just remember to not overlap one another to maximize the efficiency of your invulnerability frames. Harrow is an extreme Gunzerker frame that is very comfy to play. He has great potential and he can easily become a level cap menace, being completely invulnerable while allowing his crits to one-shot anything on the battlefield. He really is a jack of all trades Warframe, and I can't wait for you guys to try him out. Special thanks to my moderator Boru for suggesting this build. Hop on the Discord if you want to meet her and me. Every link will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy some footage of a very chill round 20 disruption mission on the Kuva Fortress.